Hello, I'm Sebastian. Welcome to Nine Trees podcast. Today, I will summarize and review the book. How to Build a Memory Palace Book 1 and 2 by Sjur Midttun is a practical guide to strengthening memory using the classic method of loci, commonly called the memory palace technique. Positioned as a two-part learning path, it aims to help readers move from understanding the core idea to applying it in everyday situations that demand fast, reliable recall. The book focuses on building mental locations you know well, then placing vivid, structured images along a route so information becomes easier to store and retrieve. Rather than treating memory as a fixed talent, it frames recall as a trainable skill shaped by attention, imagery, and repetition. Readers interested in studying more efficiently, remembering names, delivering talks without notes, or retaining lists and key facts will find an approachable entry point. The promise is not magic, but a set of methods that make memorization more deliberate and less frustrating by turning abstract material into concrete mental experiences anchored to familiar spaces. I will give you key takeaways from this book. Firstly, foundations of the memory palace and why it works. A key topic is the underlying logic of the memory palace approach and the mental ingredients that make it effective. The method relies on a simple trade: convert information that is hard to remember in its raw form into images that are easier to recall, then attach those images to locations you can navigate without effort. This leverages strong human abilities such as spatial memory, visual imagination, and story-like sequencing. The book emphasizes that the palace is not a mysterious place, but a familiar environment such as your home, a route to work, or a frequently visited building. By choosing a stable set of locations, you reduce cognitive load during recall because you are no longer searching randomly for the memory. You follow a route. The material also highlights the importance of attention because encoding fails when you skim or rush. Vividness matters as well. The more exaggerated, sensory, and emotionally noticeable an image is, the more likely it will stick. This foundation sets expectations for practice, showing that results come from learning how to encode clearly, link strongly, and retrieve consistently. Secondly, building strong palaces, location selection, routes, and number of loci. Another major topic is the construction process, selecting the right environments, mapping a clear route, and defining distinct loci that prevent confusion. The book guides readers to pick places they know extremely well, since hesitation about what comes next in the route can break recall. It encourages creating a consistent direction of travel, establishing an order that will not change, and identifying fixed stopping points like doors, furniture, corners, or landmarks. Each locus should be visually distinct and spaced far enough apart that images do not blend together. The number of loci depends on your goal. A short list might require only 10 points, while a study chapter or presentation might need 50 or more across multiple rooms or multiple palaces. The process is about reliability, not artistic imagination. Readers learn that a well-built palace is reusable, but it also needs maintenance rules, such as clearing old images when reusing the same loci or dedicating separate palaces to separate categories. This topic turns the technique from a neat concept into an organized system you can expand over time. Thirdly, encoding information with vivid imagery and clear associations. The heart of memory palace training is encoding, transforming facts, terms, and sequences into images that can be placed and later retrieved. The book stresses making images concrete and multisensory, adding motion, sound, texture, and emotion so the memory becomes harder to ignore. It also focuses on building associations that are unambiguous. If a single image could mean several things, recall becomes uncertain, so the encoding should be as specific as possible. Readers are encouraged to use exaggeration, humor, and surprise because distinctive scenes are easier to remember than ordinary ones. For abstract material, the approach typically involves substituting with symbols, word sounds, or familiar representations that bridge meaning. The topic also addresses chaining and interaction. Instead of placing a static object at a locus, you create an action that ties the image to the location and makes it memorable. Over time, this builds an internal language of images that speeds up encoding. The emphasis is not on perfect visualization skill, but on consistency and clarity so that the same cue reliably triggers the same information. Fourthly, practical applications, studying, speeches, names, and everyday recall. A practical topic throughout the book is how to apply memory palaces to common real-world needs rather than limiting the technique to party tricks. For studying, a palace can organize textbook sections, key definitions, historical timelines, or formula steps into a route that you can mentally walk during review. For speeches and presentations, loci can represent the structure of an outline, allowing smooth delivery without relying on slides or detailed notes. For names and faces, the strategy often involves creating an image that connects a person's name to a notable facial feature, then storing that image in a quick palace you can traverse before and after an event. The method also helps with lists, errands, and planning, because ordered loci naturally support sequences and checklists. The book encourages adapting scope to purpose, small palaces for daily tasks and large palace networks for exams. This topic shows that the technique becomes more valuable when it is integrated into routines, pairing fast encoding with regular retrieval so information stays accessible under pressure. Lastly, training, review, and avoiding common memory palace mistakes. A final important topic is how to practice effectively and prevent the typical errors that cause people to abandon the method. The book emphasizes that initial effort is normal because you are building both a location system and an encoding habit. Regular review is crucial. Walking the palace soon after encoding and again later strengthens retrieval cues and reveals weak links. Without review, images fade or shift, especially when they were not vivid or when loci were too similar. Another common mistake is overcrowding, placing too many items in one locus, which increases interference. Confusing images, dull scenes, and inconsistent routes can also break recall. The book supports gradual scaling. Start with short routes, master clean images, then expand to multiple rooms or multiple locations. It also highlights the importance of resetting palaces when reusing them, either by clearing old images or assigning each palace a dedicated category. With deliberate practice, the technique becomes faster and more dependable, turning memorization into a skill you can refine rather than a struggle you must endure. In conclusion, this book is best suited for students, professionals, and lifelong learners who want a structured way to remember more with less frustration. It also fits anyone preparing for exams, presentations, or information-heavy work, where recall speed matters. The main benefit is practical control. Instead of hoping repetition will eventually work, you learn a repeatable system for encoding and retrieving information on demand. That can improve study efficiency, reduce last-minute anxiety, and support clearer thinking because key facts are easier to access when you need them. Compared with many memory books that stay inspirational or focus on broad brain health tips, this one centers on a specific technique and how to implement it through construction, imagery, and practice habits. The Memory Palace method has a long history and remains popular in competitive memory training, but it can feel abstract until you see how to build palaces and apply them in everyday scenarios. If you want a purchase that emphasizes actionable steps and skill building rather than motivation alone, this book can be a worthwhile addition to your learning toolkit. If you would like to support Sjur Midttun, you can buy the book through the Amazon link I've provided in the podcast description. After reading the book, please let me know what you think and share your thoughts. See you around.